Well, almost unbelievably, I'm back. Am I back? I'm looking at my YouTube channel. Oh, there it is. Almost unbelievably. Okay, I'm back. We have good news and we have bad news. Okay? The good news is, well, the bad news is that I made a mistake in these background painting. These, I forgot about her bed. So both of these paintings have to be altered. So no big deal. Honest mistake. And it's a pretty easy fix. This room actually needs to be well, the good news is that these are the only two background paintings in the show that have this problem, it appears. Now we might want to go back. Let's see here. I'm gonna go way back. Let me save all and let's go way back and let's just double check. See, we're gonna have to suspend our disbelief to an extent because the positioning of her bed, when right there, obviously from the initial scene, would kind of sort of indicate that her bed is right there in front of the window. So there's two ways we can go. We can ignore the problem, and as long as in some other scenes or situations the bed reappears where it's supposed to be, more or less. Another thing we could do, and by the way, that's definitely screwed up. I'm gonna have to definitely go back and look at that. But let's just keep scrolling through here in some of this older stuff and just try to remember that by the way, those white, those are just overlays to highlight his face, kind of draw your attention to where we want it to be. In any case, okay, that's cool. Let's just scroll through. And it appears that's where that one ends. Okay. So now let's load scene. Kari's sleeping. Ninjas enter. Okay. This one always had those wacky, malformed, yeah. We are definitely going to have to suspend our disbelief. And of course, as I'm going through here and seeing this old stuff, I'm seeing things that I'm going to want to definitely change, like the back of the room there. That's completely wrong. But that's okay. It's not that much to do to fix it. So that's probably okay. But yeah, it's kind of embarrassing in a way to, you know, you get to this point and you realize, yeah, there's definitely some stuff that I did a while ago that I think I could do better now. But let's just keep going. I believe Set the Fight was the next sequence. We're getting there. We're almost there. Okay, I guess there's a lot going on. These layers, got a camera move. Okay, yeah, actually that's all there was to that one. And pre-fight dialogue. Kari still had her hair down, and I think we're actually going to be in good shape. Okay, right there. Okay, so yeah, right there, that's fine. We'll redo the background. Okay, he sets down the vase. Okay, we're good. We're good. So I was correct. It's only the scene we're into now that has a real problem. Okay, and here I've got the backgrounds turned off. I better turn them on so I can get some context here. Right there, actually that is probably a good example. That is probably an example where we should get her bed in there. Let's keep going and see what else we have. Yeah, that's a bummer. Okay. Do 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 do. Oh wait, this is the battle time. Darn it! No wonder it's taking so long. We want this one. Jeez, I'm discarding my changes. I'm not even gonna think about that. Okay, that's better. Just go through and look at the keys. Okay, right there we got a level here that needs to be turned on because that's the wall he's running in front of. Okay, right here, questionable. Maybe right around here there should be some indication of the bed. I think I'm just gonna broadly say that it's probably not a pressing problem until the current scene, because we have those wide shots where you can see everything. So it's always fun to go back and look at this animation. Yeah, see, it was really about here. But yeah, I mean roughly about here, halfway through this scene, where I finally got the ink and paint to where I'm satisfied with how it looks and feels. So let's hit Control Shift, kick some in the nugs, boom, and then she got this ranting and raving thing going on. Okay, I think we're in good shape. So let's go back to the scene we were working on, which is the battle back half. And I don't know how that scene's been modified, but okay, we'll go with it. Alright, so let's kill this X sheet. And now we can deal with the problem. So now, as far as background painting goes, if you can do it directly in OpenToonz, that's great. But it's going to frequently be the case that the stuff has to be opened up in another program. So do we GIMP it or do we Krita it? Well, I've decided I'm going to Krita it for two reasons. The lesser reason is because you can do animation in Krita if we get in a situation where we want to actually come in and do some quick and dirty animation. In Krita we can do it. With GIMP, not so much. The other reason is that I think as far as the filters and the masking and things like that, I think it's just actually going to be easier. So earlier I struggled a bit with, I actually created a layer mask and then duplicated the layer so I could split the shot into two halves and not worry about painting over like this line right here. Well, actually, what I had forgotten was that the Bezier tool is actually what I wanted. To just go like this. Whoops. Okay. Don't miss. I guess that's kind of important, right? Okay. Actually, that's interesting. Krita wanted to tell me that there is a perfectly horizontal line there. So basically, if you don't drag when you use the Bezier selector, it creates straight lines. So that basically solves the problem. So now I have a selection and I can fix this. Alright, and boy, oh boy, I need to remember what brush I was using. It was kind of a fairly ornate brush. Okay, or actually, for all I know, the brush I was using might have been in GIMP. I don't remember right now what I was doing. So I'm going to probably just assume we can get away with using this one. Let's sample that color, and then what we need to do is essentially extend this floor. So having done that, I'm going to make this a little darker, and we'll just follow the perspective. And it's close. I'm going to shrink it a little more. Make it just a little bit lighter. Actually, I want to shrink it even more than that. Okay, and I'm going to turn the opacity of this down so I can sort of bring it in a little more gradually. Okay, and now, so far as texture is concerned, let's see. This is another thing with Krita I'm liking, is the fact that I can just the shortcut keys are way more intuitive than in GIMP. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of tinting here. Okay, that takes care of that. So now what we can do is invert the selection. Select invert. Now the top half of the thing is selected. And what we can do is just quickly paint this so that we don't see a wall indication there, because that wall indication is definitely problematic. Okay, so now having done that, I'm going to hit Control Shift A, so I select nothing. Okay, now I've flattened the room back out. Probably it wouldn't be the dumbest idea ever to just take one of these guys and create a duplicate here, something of that nature, and then Control E to just merge that down. Control Shift A to select none. Okay, now before I go too much further, I want to switch back to my brush and probably let's hit F5. I believe there's a simple setting to change this into a smudging brush. And sorry to make you sit in front of me trying to remember this kind of stuff. Well, let's try it this way. I think I should be able to remember. Sketch, textures. Let's look at textures. No. Sketch, pixel art, paint. That might be okay. Let's see what that is. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, seal blue. Hi. Hi. How do you say seal? C-I-E-L. Is that a boy name or a girl name? Are you male or are you female? Alright, I'm going to go taking the opacity of this way down and just, you see what I'm doing? I'm just going to add a little hint of noise there. Kind of consistent with what we had before. Okay, and before I go too much further, I want to save this. And it is being saved as a TIFF. I think that if I get more layers going, Krita will ask me if I want to save it as a TIFF, but also as a Krita file at the same time. So all I'm doing here is, I had noticed when I opened it up in OpenToonz that this is a little bit blatant. It was a little stronger than I really wanted. So, and now I'm going to sample that and just put a little indication here on the walls. Okay, so now what do we do? If we want to get the bed in there, it would probably be smart to go back to OpenToonz and look at what the, yeah, okay, so this is the organization of the scene. And it's only one shot. So there's nobody walking around over here or something like that. So that means it's okay for us to just go ahead and cut the bed in. So let's go to, actually let's go back to the Bezier selector. And what I want to do is just put in some indication of it. So I'm just going to wing it here. I'm going to go boom. Okay, and I think it'll be easier for the eye to accept this if I sort of unrealistically make the bed running the same perspective as the floor. In point of fact, it probably wouldn't be, but for our purposes here, I think that'll be okay. So let's take the brush now with the opacity about, I don't know, 20%. Let's just scribble in there. Okay, a couple times. And then Control-Shift-A. So we just have the hint of the bed in there. Now, if we're going to get the colors right, which probably honestly doesn't matter, it would be like a pretty dark burgundy here on the bedspread. Okay, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to sample that color right there. So Control, click, so that I can turn the opacity back up and actually really paint over that. So basically what we had was that kind of a thing going on with the bed. Let me look at the, yeah, I think the scale of that will probably be okay. Okay, and if we do that, we need this gold color that was essentially the trim on the bed. So I think that's okay. Let's sample that and just put some marks here because the bedspread had some decoration on it. Okay, and then maybe just a little bit lighter color here to indicate sort of some wrinkles. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do this again. I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. I'm going to go ahead and trace around this. This is where it probably would have been easier to put it on a separate layer. But basically I'm going to mask that out so that I can then take some black, the brush, turn the opacity way down again. Just don't want to overdo it. And actually, sorry about that, I need to take the selection and invert it so that what I'm doing is effectively protecting the bed. That way I can just paint in some shadow activity here, like so. And I think that's gonna be fine. Alright, and now while I'm here and thinking about it, I'm gonna touch up the bases of these pillars just a little bit. Okay, that feels better. Control-Shift-A. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit vague. Well, I can tell you what I can do, actually, is let's sample this and then go a little bit lighter. Let's go a little bit lighter, and then I guess we could probably turn the opacity up. Okay, I don't like that last little bit. I don't think it's super important to be mega faithful to the drawings of the bed that we had earlier, but we do want to get it in there. So let's take this, just get a little bit there, and let's lighten this a bit. Okay, I like that better. File, save. And now we should be able to open up the OpenToonz project again and go to frame 8, and so the bed's in there. Frankly, yeah, it's actually out of the safe zone, so it's not even that important. But to be perfectly picky, what I probably should do is get some good dark black right there and let's just give a little cleaner indication of where those legs are. It's supposed to be you know, kind of impressionistic here. I'm not trying to make it, I just want to suggest it so that we don't like forget it. Forget that it was ever there. Come on now. So I think that's probably fine. Alright, let's open it up here. Hate to have to keep reopening it. If anyone ever knows a way to avoid that, let me know. Okay, that's better. At least it's in there. And that's, I think I got the sizing roughly right. So now we got this one. This one's going to be trickier. This one is going to be trickier. This is 9A, okay. So let's go ahead and kill this. And actually, I've already got it loaded up, don't I? But this is the Krita version of it, not the TIFF version of it. So I'll have to export it as a TIFF afterwards. But what I need to do is pretty much the following. I need to, so I've got the S key in Krita set up. I've got the hotkeys set up so that they kind of are the same as OpenToonz, so I don't have to always remember. Okay, so then I use the S key for selecting, and then the A key to okay, stop. This is an interesting question I need to ask myself. If I grab all these layers, does the animate tool, or the transform tool is really what it is, act on all the selected layers? It doesn't. So that's a bummer. That is definitely a bummer. That means I really need to flatten this thing. I'm going to flatten it. Image. So actually just do it over here. Let's just go over here and flatten the image. Got to do it. Sorry. See you later. Goodbye. Okay. That's okay. So now that way I can go, I can grab this stuff, and the truth is the bottom edge doesn't matter that much at this point. Okay. I've got to slide that up, and let's just commit to it. Control Shift A. Alright, and now let's turn our brush back on and do a little sampling and a little bit of color here to just kind of figure out what's going on. And then what we got to do is we've got to extend the floor. Okay, so the floor needs to be extended, let's say about that far. And I'll deal with the bottom. I'll deal with the bottom of the curtain area later, but let's just fill that. That's fine. Again, you know, it's kind of a drag to have to do this, but whatever. So what I know how to do really well in GIMP, but not so much in Krita, and that's why this is going to be a little more challenging in some ways, is that like the clone tool, I don't even know. I think you actually have to do a special cloning brush in Krita or something in order to do cloning. It's a little bit silly, but so what I'm going to do is just try to get, I'm squinting so I can sort of get this kind of sort of close. And obviously we can have a little bit of atmospheric perspective, you might say, in the sense that it's going to get darker as it recedes. So what I'm doing is I'm squinting so I can actually just feel it more than see it. Okay, and clearly, let's just go ahead and say that's where that goes, and we can just kind of take the painterly approach here, because again, this is all receded into the background. Okay, now the question becomes, what do we do about the bed? So I think that it would probably be smartest to just put it on a fresh layer, right? So I'm going to test what I said earlier and see if I was correct. I think if I add a layer, and let's just draw something so there's something there so it's not basically expendable data. And while I'm thinking about it, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and fix this. Okay. Alright. And now if I save this, oh, this is already a Krita file, not a TIFF, so forget what I was saying, it doesn't matter. Alright, so erase. Okay, so I'm thinking let's just be kind of loosey-goosey with it. Let's just say, okay, the bed post is here, and we'll give it just a little bit of an angle. I got to go back and check OpenToonz though. So what we're doing right now is going to put this right about there. Okay, so I'm kind of gambling because I can't easily. I mean, okay, actually, yeah. See, if I do it in OpenToonz, I really want to have it on a separate layer, and I don't like to get a bunch of extemporaneous layers going in my OpenToonz files unless there's a really good reason to. Okay, I'm a little bit not quite thinking that's grabbing like I wanted to. I guess it is. I guess it's okay. Okay, so back to the bed layer. So that's roughly, gosh, it's about a 3x4 relationship, so I'm going to say it's about there. Okay, so, and actually, let's pull out here. I'm going to try to line this. I'm going to try to line this up so I can actually almost just switch between them and see. Yeah, okay. Okay, definitely gonna have to tighten up the edge there on the bottom of the floor and put in some shadowing because that looks basically pretty stupid, but okay. So I'm just gonna make it black and I gotta do this totally by feel. I'm thinking something like that. Nope, that's too much of an angle. Let's see. Alright, let's do it this way. I'm being a little bit stupid here. Let's go like that. And I believe there's really no indication of the vanishing point here. So I'm just going to say that these are my perspective lines and we have a high point of view, which is true. We are kind of looking down on the situation. So if that's the case, we have to, unfortunately, this is actually kind of an interesting problem. What we need to do is determine, we have to maintain, let's try it this way. We have to maintain the same point of view in terms of elevation. I don't even know if this is scientifically correct. But given that, I'm guessing that, and if we know the basic width of the bed, then I think this is what you would have. This would be the legs. I don't like that because it's coincidental. It's like matching the level of the back edge of the room. But I think from a perspective standpoint, I think that is what we would have. I think that's correct. So given that we're going to assume that's correct, I'm going to turn those guides down, and now I'm going to go ahead and just paint this in because I'm going to wind up lightening this layer so it's not black. It's just going to look black here in the as I'm drawing it. Okay, so if this is going to come down to there, then I think we have to let the base of the bed come down lower like this. Okay, and then we've got we should indicate here that we're also going to have this. We're also going to have this coming in the room. Okay, so let's play with that. I really don't know if I've got this. I'm not like a genius with perspective. But if I'm correct, then you would basically have, let's just bisect this, and we can eyeball it. That's okay. So if we were going to do that, then that would actually put the shadowing of the bed from this perspective as being something like that, which is okay. Let's not do that. Let's actually change our approach to the perspective. I'm going to assume that this is actually, from the standpoint of the shadows, that it is expanding out. And I'm gonna, in order to do this consistently with what I've been doing, I think I need to do it this way, even though it might be a, whoops, it might be a kludge. It might not actually be physically accurate. Okay, and then we've got these lines, so that would put something right about there. Yeah, this is actually, I was saying earlier when I was live streaming that I've been surprised how much I enjoy doing background painting, and actually these kind of perspective puzzles are way the heck more interesting than I ever thought they would be. So again, I will happily admit that I probably have it wrong, but we're going to give it a try. We're going to give it a try. And then that would put that there. That would be kind of sort of something like that. I'm back, yeah. Okay. And now what we want to do is, that's going to be a harsh shadow, definitely. So I think what I'll do is put that in there as a shadow situation, and then put a layer on top of it for some delineation. Let's sample this color but make it a much darker version of it, and because this is wood here. So again, hopefully this isn't going to all backfire and look completely stupid, but the fact is I can't just leave the bed out. I did forget. I forgot about the bed. What can I say? I forgot. Okay, and now we need our burgundy. Whoa, that's too rich. Way too rich. Saturated, I mean. Yep, I'm just gonna fuzz it in there, and we'll take our gold color that we used for the trim. It's a little bit lighter. Okay. The peaceful music I use. Guess what that peaceful music is? It's music that I wrote. It's basically production music that I wrote, and I got my first royalty check from Harry Fox Agency just last week, and it was a whopping 9 cents. So I can't say that I'm not spending a lot of time creating production library music anymore, because it was a bit of a bust. But yeah, all the music in the background is music I wrote and produced. Okay, let's save that as a Krita, and then let's hope this doesn't completely destroy what's going on in OpenToonz. But what we need is a TIFF, and boy, I better double check my file name. Okay, it's 9A. Okay, so we want to save this as C9A TIFF, and we're going to boldly replace it. And now let's cross our fingers and hope this doesn't look completely stupid. If it does, it's possible I'm going to have to completely redo like a lot of this. Okay, actually not bad. Not bad. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. Since I've got it in there, I'm going to turn to my oil paint brush, and I'm going to go ahead and tune it up now in OpenToonz. So I'm going to hit the R key, so I sample that color, and then we're going to make it just a little lighter. Okay, that's actually too dark. I said too dark, I meant too light. I get my darks and my lights mixed up apparently. Okay, this needs to be pushed more to the red, and then just slightly brighter. Hello? I guess I gotta go even more. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let me sample this. I'm hitting the control key because I think I can sample with the control key like I can in Krita, and I can't. So, I mean, I pretty much like the way it's sort of out of focus and stuff. I think this needs to be even tinier. Alright, and then I want to basically be a little bolder with that edge. I think we're okay. I haven't used the palette gizmo, no. It's brewski time. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit save all, which is going to cause the changes I just put into this painting to actually reappear in Krita. And so I think if I load up the TIFF, okay, so now it's got the changes that I made, and now I got a few more things I need to do to make this right. Actually, it's definitely a lot easier doing the painting stuff in Krita. And considering how much I've complained about Krita in the past, I have to say I'm eating my words here a little bit, because it really is pretty nice for doing background painting. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Well, let's tune this up, and now what we see is we don't have the atmospheric perspective that we need. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer, and I'm just going to make it black, and I'm going to go like this. Okay, and then I think what I'll do is go up here right into the corner and hit the well, actually I need to kill that layer. Alright, fine. Okay, B key. So I need to run around the edge of the bed there. Okay, so then I can hit the fill tool and fill that in, and of course I kind of thought that was going to happen, so I got to fix it up, but that's cool. So this is really going to help. You'll see in a second that it's definitely going to make this all look more better. Okay, now do we want to do normal or do we want to do overlay? Let's try overlay and see what happens. Overlay has a tendency to kick up the saturation. Well, if it has any tonality to it, I guess, actually. See, look at that. Isn't that sweet? That's nice. That's pretty cool. I'm going to take a break here and look at them. Howdy, Nuisance Films. Where can I purchase your movie? Amazon. Just go to Amazon and Google it. Oh, brother. Okay, I sound like a complete neophyte here. Go to Amazon and just search for Healed by Grace, and you'll find it. And so there's both the I think PG-13. I think definitely PG-13. I mean, we got some stuff in there that's a little bit, if you've been watching, you know there's some stuff that's a little bit provocative, but nothing that would really be too objectionable, I think. So, yeah, I would definitely say PG-13. Now, some parents might disagree. I mean, the movies I've produced are very much G-rated type movies. I mean, you know, they're faith and family type genre. no bad words kind of thing. But I'm liking this. Now the one thing that is missing now that I've done this, is the beams of light. So let's just get them in there. Let's go like this. Okay, I'm gonna just go like this, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this brush really big. Okay, I'm just gonna go like this. Okay, so that I can then just add a Gaussian blur, blur the snot out of it, right? Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is go back in, hit my E for the eraser. Okay, so now that's a little risky. Gosh, I think this up here is probably okay. Let me see. Yeah, you can look up Healed by Grace on Amazon and find it. And then the sequel, which I just released basically October or so, is called Healed by Grace 2. And that one's got Sean Young in it, who's most well known for, Blade Runner. Sean Young was the girl in Blade Runner, played Rachel. And then she was in, like, she was in the Ace Ventura movies, stuff like that. Alright, I think what I'm going to do here, since I'm in eraser mode, what I'm going to do is go ahead and do this, and then add a light, little bit of that. A little bit of streakiness, sort of a volumetric thing. And then run the Gaussian blur tool again. Probably not going to be as much blur this time. Yeah, that's cool. Do that, and then just bring the opacity down. And what I want to do is kind of quickly dial it in and just see how it feels. That's pretty good, I think. That's pretty good. All right, let's go with that. So save. We're saving the TIFF, so I'm not even bothering with the Krita file yet. If it looks good here, I'll probably just not even bother saving it as a layered image. Okay. Yeah, and see, we're going to have the ninja crawling in here. I don't like his pose laying on the ground either. And obviously the characters don't have any shadows right now, so it looks a little bit lame. Okay, so, alright, so this is your fast food rock and roll compared to everything. That's my adult show. Be hard R, but nothing worse. No, it's definitely not hard R. There's just a little naughtiness here and there, but nothing that... Okay, so how about let's go over here and let's reevaluate on our silhouette color. I need to find it. I got too doggone many colors going on. Okay, there's the silhouette. Alright, let's just play with this for a minute. Value right now is at 46. So I think it basically looks better if it's like that. You could go like that. That would be okay. But I kind of like the darker contrasted with the grayish outlines. So now what I want to do is go back and see if there's anything that gets screwed up because of that. Why in the heck does he have this guy's shadow on his let me go to hard R, like a heavier PG-13 by violence or nudity. Yeah, hard R. Yeah, we're not planning on doing, like, I would consider Kill la Kill to be more controversial or conservative or provocative than this story is. Kill la Kill is pretty, you know, pretty on the edge as far as suggestiveness, I would say. Okay, and it looks to me like the silhouette is working here, so I'm thinking, why fight it? Okay, we're going to need another keyframe in between, though, for that guy, so it looks like he's actually sneaking. But, so that's fine. What the heck just happened here? I'm wondering... Oh, it's because it's rendered. Duh, stupid. Okay. Okay, cool. I think that's going to be alright. Let's go back to the background painting. And what are we going to do here? Are we going to touch it up right here in OpenToonz? Seems kind of stupid, really. Why don't we touch it up here? If we're going to touch it up, let's do it in Krita. Alright. So let's just make this a little bit lighter. Hello? I guess we want it there. Yeah, I just want to get a little bit of detail in there. A little indication that the light is hitting it. Gotta really make my brush tiny. Okay. I'm pretty reasonably happy with this, I would say. And I'm just going to save it. I know it's going to update later when I reopen the project in OpenToonz. This painting will update, but I think that's about it for this painting. Should I save it as a Krita file just to be safe? I can hear all your voices out there saying, Dave, don't be stupid. Save it as a Krita file just to be safe. And this is the C9A image. Boom. So there, I saved it. So now I've got the layered version just in case. And where are we at? Well, we're moving forward with trying to accomplish more or less completed frames, just because that's more fun than going through in assembly line fashion. You know, trying to do all of one color, all of the coloring, and then all, you know, I've decided I'm going to do it this way. Now, I do have a problem right here. And why don't we hit the F2 key to open up the X sheet. So I want to look at the body shadow layer. Okay, that is where the problem is. And I think that what we need to do is just go like this. Okay, and maybe, I guess you could just maybe smooth that out a little bit, but yeah, that's okay. And frankly, this is, you know, it's amazing how when you go through and then you come back to it and see stuff that you didn't see before. It's kind of amazing how often that happens. Okay, I really want to make that more aggressive. For those of you who are out there panicking because of this scribbling right here, when it renders, it doesn't, that scribbling's not in there because it gets masked out. However, I do think, yeah, see, I don't have a cast shadow on this layer, which is kind of stupid. So let's go B key, click. Okay, that just created the image, which I need to delete from there. And now I can go like this and give him a cast shadow as well, which is quite cool. Okay, so that's fine. And probably here too, the cast shadow layer is behind the character layer, so that way it's blocked by their bodies, you know, so kind of works as you would sort of expect. Alright, so now we can kill the big X sheet. I only hope to do this. Yes, do it. You're talking about the Krita file. Yeah, don't be stupid, right? I've been known to be stupid in my time, I must say. And just, if you want to be picky about it, I could go in here and go like this, just so it's not quite as egregious looking. But even so, when this thing is finally rendered, of course, those lines will disappear. So now there is one other thing that's bugging me in this particular background image, which is, I'm going to go at the R key here, and I really want to see Just a little bit more. Okay, this needs to be at 0. I want to see just a little bit more indication of the texture of the floor here behind him. Yeah, just a little something. It seems like I don't like that. I made that a little too dark. Okay, yeah, just something to dial it in a little bit. Okay, cool. I'm gonna attempt making my own show in Flash MX 2004. Cool. The version of Flash I have is like version 5. I think it's Flash 5. It's really, really old. Yeah, it works fine, but I just don't. I'm not a big, huge fan of doing vectors. Okay. What just happened there? Let's kill that. So that's the body shadow, but the masking on it's completely, I mean what the heck? Oh, I see, this got changed. Yeah. Where is it? 5, 6, there we go. I don't know how that got switched. But, okay, so now what we have is the problem of no cast shadows here. So let's fix that right now. Because that frame looks fine. So now we're at the point where we're fixing problems. So let's go to the cast shadow layer, which is here, and hit the B key. It's pretty hard to make a mistake since there is only... Okay, what's going on here? Cast shadows. It's not painting. That tells me something's whacked in OpenToonz, and normally when that happens, what you do is you kill OpenToonz and reopen it, and it almost always fixes. Notice a lot of people are using Blender for vector outline tweening. Is that something you'd recommend? Okay, well, the first question I would ask, Jay, is what you mean by a lot of people. Can you do it? Yes. But at the same time, okay. Okay, so first of all, your question invites some discussion. The first question that kind of emerges from your question is, what's the value of vector tweening to begin with? Okay. So here's okay, so I'm going to divert from background painting and shadows and all that for just a moment in order to address Jay's question, because it's an important question. What I'm going to talk about here, it doesn't matter if you're using Blender 2.79 or 2.8. It doesn't matter. Okay, so what Jay's talking about is, if I have a character, and let's just say it's a fairly cleanly delineated character. So I'm going to say, here's my character, and let's just give him some big ears. Okay, here's my character. And so what Jay's asking is, ostensibly because quote unquote a lot of people are doing this, is that if I go over here and now I say, well, I'm going to use sculpting to make this guy talk. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, go around like that. I'm going to put my cursor right there. I'm going to hit the period key so that the rotation happens on the cursor. I'm going to hit the rotate button, and by the way, I may even mess with the influence, the range of influence of the proportional editing tool. Now, if I'm really going to be smart about this, what I would do is keep that proportion, that range of influence quite low, so that the lip, as you can see it right here. Okay, well, let me just do this. This area right here just stretched out. Okay? Okay. So now the question is, what he's saying is that this is what people are doing. They're hitting Control-Shift-E. Okay? So Blender put in tweens for me. Okay? There you go. It's that simple. It's really easy. And the answer to your question is, if it works for you and that's what fits into your animation workflow, then by all means use it. Okay, but at the same time, if I come in here in OpenToonz and I create a vector level, alright, and so now I'm going to do a little drawing, and I'm going to draw basically the same character, and I'm going to draw him like this, and I'll just say, okay, here we go, same guy. And then I'm going to hit the D key, duplicate this, alright, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the C key to modify this, right? Okay, so now this is a little tricky because I need to make sure I grab the nodes that I'm interested in, okay? And then I'm going to go like this, and okay, it's a little more work here probably for demonstration purposes. But again, I'm going to just go like this and select these nodes, these nodes, these nodes. Okay, OpenToonz isn't super cooperating. And again, this is something I never, ever, ever use or never do. Not that I don't know how to do it, it's just I don't do it. Okay, so here we go. Sorry about that, that doesn't work. Let's grab that center piece and like that. Okay, so we have basically the same situation. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit DDD, and I'm going to make a bunch of duplicates in OpenToonz, and then I'm going to grab the first one, and I'm going to go to the second one. Now this requires you to take a little bit of time to plan, because you want the number of in-betweens to be whatever you need them to be. And then I'm going to check, and I'm going to say, well, I'm going to do a linear interpolation, and boom. Okay, and guess what happened? OpenToonz did the same thing. Okay? So now the question becomes, which one's better? So question number one is having the computer do tweens for you actually useful? And I'm going to tell you that it's useful like once in a freaking blue moon. Because what happens is the automatic tweening often makes mistakes, often doesn't do quite what you had in mind, and you have to go in and fine-tune it anyway. And so then if you're really doing this, what you wind up doing is saying, well, I guess that was a bad idea. Why don't we do this instead? Let's go here, select this, and let's just do our own tweens, okay? Because now we can have a little bit of precursor motion here, okay, and then we can wait a little bit so it's more like it's on twos or whatever, and have a rapid motion, and then have it ease out, okay? And now, and I'm turning the onion skinning off, so now we have this. It feels a little better. Obviously we have to fix this, but whoop-de-doo, okay? So it's a funny question, because the question is, the question kind of would be, what about automatic in-betweening? And the answer is, it's almost never useful, actually. It'd be great if it was, but it's not. It's usually not that useful. Especially because if you're doing a Saturday morning cartoon, you don't want all these in-betweens anyway. You just want it to go from this to this. If you're doing a typical, limited animation type of show. Okay? But if you really want in-betweens, guess what? You can have them. You can drag this sequence now into OpenToonz, and you get the whole sequence. And then if you want to, just hit Alt and the down key, and you can actually go in and tweak the timing too. Like that. So I could put a pause in it, and so now it waits a little bit, and then you get, the fast motion. And actually what I would probably do in practice is I would go stretch that down to there, and so that it does a hold. See? And there's nothing hard about it. Okay? So now that, I think, answers your question. My answer to that question is not going to be a popular answer, because my answer is, yeah, good luck with automatic in-betweening, because what you're going to find is if you really are serious in creating some real animation, you're going to find out it's almost never useful. But if you want to use it, you can use it. Sorry, yeah, there we go. Okay, so that was a little bit of a rant, but it's a cool capability, but like I said, it's just a capability that you don't think too much about it, because what you're going to find is you don't actually use it that much. What I found is the most economical and wise solution to things like in-betweening is A, know how to draw, and then B, use like the selection tool to cut the character into pieces and do in-betweening that way, kind of the way I did in Blender. I'll actually show this too, so let's create a new scene. Okay, so the classic case of where in-betweening digitally, if you will, without a bunch of extra drawing comes in handy is, okay, so let's say we have Spider-Man. Okay, so here's Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's got his arm up here on the wall, okay? And Spider-Man is getting ready to do something, okay? So he's got, let's say he's got one arm up, and he's getting ready to shoot his web at somebody who's down here, okay? So now the question is, well, Spider-Man is going to bend his arm to point it at his target, right? Okay, how are you going to do that? Well, you could, there's no way you're going to do it with automatic in-betweening, because if you do, I'll show you exactly what happens. This is why automatic in-betweening is almost never useful, is because you're going to go like this, and you're going to rotate this, okay, and let's just, you know, sorry, let's do that again. Hit the period key, okay, and then what I want to do is rotate this a little bit. Okay, let me tweak a little bit. So what I want to do is be careful about what I'm selecting. Okay, so let's just say, okay, that looks pretty bad, but we can work with it. So let's hit the E key, and we're going to switch to grab mode so that we can actually sculpt this into shape, so it's not like completely stupid looking. Okay, so by sculpting it, there's the exact same number of points in this drawing that we had in the first drawing, so therefore we can use automatic in-betweening. Let's give it a try. Control-Shift-E, and this is what you get. Utterly and completely useless. If there's any rotation at all that takes place, your in-betweening is useless. And guess what? When you're trying to do quick and dirty in-betweens, you're almost always doing rotations. So you say, well, Dave, then what would you actually do in practice? I'll show you what I do in practice. What I would do in practice is I would draw this drawing, and first of all, make sure that it doesn't look completely stupid because I'm going so fast I'm not being careful. Okay, and then I would ink him on a second layer. So I'd have one layer just for the sketch, and then I'd ink it more tightly on another layer. Okay, and then I'm going to go to this keyframe, hit the A key, whoops, A key. All right, and maybe do a little sculpting just to okay, just so I know what the heck I want. And then I would ink it on a separate layer and just use this as a sketch. And then if I really want to have some indication of easing in or out or something like that, what I do is I put a keyframe here, and actually what I do is put a keyframe here. Move this. If it really has to happen on frame 12, fine. I'd go back to here, and then what I do is I'd grab this, and I probably wouldn't sculpt it, but you can. Let's sculpt it. Let's just keep going that way. And I put a little bit of a tween there, and I go back here, and I grab all this, and hello, control, grab, and then I put a little bit of a tween. Sorry, got to put the cursor there. A little bit of a tween here, and now when I play it back, this is what I get. So I decide where the tweening goes, I decide what the pacing of it is, yada yada yada, and it's done with basically sculpting and drawing. Okay, so I answered that question because I think the reason I answer that question somewhat passionately is because, Jay, I don't want you to get caught up in the stuff that doesn't matter. And when you see like all this stuff about Blender 2.8, the Eevee renderer, the grease pencil, it's all cool, but most of the stuff that looks sexy is not actually that useful in real work most of the time. When it matters, and when you need it, it's cool. But what sells you on using the product is the sexy stuff, and when you're trying to get real work done, very little of it is sexy. Very little of it is as elegant as automatic in-betweening, which, by the way, has never ever worked in any application that's ever been created, for the reason I just showed you, because it doesn't accommodate rotation. If you want to accommodate rotation, you use bones. That's what you do. You put bones on your character so that you can then articulate them that way. And if you want to do puppet animation in Blender or OpenToonz or whatever else you want, that's a absolutely legitimate way to do animation, and it can be extremely useful. That's why I use the plastic tool for secondary animation in these scenes. So like this part right here, I'm probably going to use the plastic tool to put some shake on this character, and it'll be way, way faster than doing a bunch of drawings. Okay, so where are we at? We're here. Okay, that's cool. So I hope that wasn't too ranty. In OpenToonz, you can use the plastic tool exactly. It was Jay that asked about the in-betweening, wasn't it? Maybe it was Nuisance Film. I don't remember. I can't find the comment, but it's only right for simple projects and only if you do it right. That's exactly correct. I use Kakana, and it's different from Blender and OpenToonz. It's like a much better tween system with transparent vector line capability. Okay. Yeah, I've never even heard of Kakani. Kakani, is that how you say it? Check it out. You know, there's other programs out there that are really good, like Dragon Bones, and I can't remember what the other one. There's one that's like really similar to Dragon Bones, and they both have pretty much parity in their capabilities, and they're kind of oriented towards creating, you know, game assets, but really, really good, you know, good bone capabilities. Kakani, made with Kakani. I will check this out. Because, you know, the visuals look really good. Let me pull this over here. I'm looking at this right now. I mean, if this was all created completely in this program, I'm going to say that's pretty impressive. That's definitely some good looking stuff. So, yeah, I mean, absolutely, Jay. Kudos on that one. I'm thinking that looks very compelling. Okay, where are we at here? Ink and paint. We got to do ink and paint. Okay, so with that, I'm going to take my sketch right here. I'm going to go ahead and, by the way, that should be on raster. I'm going to go ahead and crank down the alpha, and it looks like this guy was already inked. So that's great. That means I can go ahead and get him painted. All right. So, and there is quite a bit that's inked. Actually, come to think of it, what am I thinking? It's all inked. It's the paint that I haven't done. So hopefully we won't bump into too many problems here. Let's go fill, fill, fill. Excuse me. Ninja costume. Boom, 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 boom. Then he's got his wraps. Boom, boom. And then we're going to have to hand paint his eyes. So let's hit the P key. And that needs to not be selective. Otherwise it won't paint anything that was already painted previously. And then what I'm going to do is hit the K key to sample the flesh tone so that I can then just zoom in and actually I'm going to turn selective back on because then I cannot accidentally paint over something that was already painted, which is great. Alright, and then I need to actually turn that off for half a second here while I get this little bit. Okay, cool. And then this guy doesn't really have the he doesn't really have the eye color going on. He's just okay, stop, rewind. That's got to be at 0 for ink. Boom. So I'm just going to make that a little bit more distinctive. Kind of just draw over that and give it a little more character. Okay, and now I need to go K to sample that, and then I can paint these guys in, and it looks like this is looking pretty good. Now, actually, I forgot about the K key. Boom, fill tool. Okay, what did I forget? I forgot about the actually, never mind. Forget that. I'm good. Hit the B key here. Let's put some of the little bit of character into his wraps. And then what we want to do is let's deal with shadows. So let's go to body shadows, which, by the way, I forgot to do here. So in all reality, what I should do is backtrack and do body shadows here. So let's do it. Let's hit the P key. We're just doing shadows, so hello, P key. Oh, I see. Sorry. I need to actually hit the B key and insert a drawing. If there's not a drawing there, it doesn't know what it's supposed to draw onto. So, and because it's just so doggone much fun, I'm just going to hand paint these shadows. I'm not even going to try to do fills, because I just don't care. I'm having fun hand painting, so to speak, so we might as well just enjoy the ride, baby. Enjoy the ride. Okay, let's get all this. So do these guys have cast shadows? No, of course they don't, because the shadows would be over here. They'd be off the page, off the screen. So, yeah, no new comments. So now we got to go to the cast shadows layer, hit the B key, and again, I'm just gonna go like that. I'm just gonna do it like that and keep it pretty simple. All right, and then in the body shadows level, I do need to kind of get Akari in shape, and of course, these shadows are going to be masked, so it doesn't matter if I go outside the lines. When it renders, boom! See, looks great, looks butt kicking. So now let's see what we have here. Okay, so here we really need to first of all insert a drawing, and then what we got to do to be safe is use the S key to select this, Control C, go to the next frame and hit Control V. That way the shadows on Akari are exactly the same. These guys can be different because they are moving. Okay, so let's just kind of pin this down, and I don't tend to use onion skins much, but I do like to just like bounce back and forth between my drawings to see what I'm doing, making sure things feel like they're progressing sensibly, which it seems to be. So actually the way I'm working right now is the way I like working the best. I'm moving really, really fast. I don't happen to be having to deal with a bunch of stuff that I'm actually not that knowledgeable of as far as the program capabilities, so therefore I can move fairly fast. Now the only cast shadows were these two guys, so for this one I can go like this, go to the next drawing, which by the way doesn't exist, so I gotta hit the B key so it inserts a drawing, then hit the S key and hit Control V. Okay, cool. Now I'm up to this guy. Alright, again, B key. So actually that was kind of dumb. I'm gonna drag this down. I'm not gonna need any cast well, actually, you know what, forget what I just said. I'm gonna put cast shadows on him, only because it gives me the ability to darken the shadows that are already there. You'll see what I mean here in a half a second. So B key, boom. Gosh, it's been an hour and 13 minutes. What's a Kakani cost? I don't have it in front of me right now. It definitely looks like a really capable little program. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Let me think about this for a second. Let me go to the previous frame. Okay, so it's basically from this point of view, it would be the light would be on the left side of his head, right? This is a dyslexia moment for me. So he's over here, it's coming this way, therefore it would be here. So that means I think I'm going to give him just a little bit of a rim light there. So let's go ahead and get all that in there. Hit the fill tool just to make it quick and easy. P key here, boom, boom, boom. Fill tool here. I'll just do that. And then frankly, this is all going to be in shadow. So now the question is, are we going to use the cast shadows to tighten things up even better? And I think I am. So now what I'm going to do is use the cast shadow layer right here. Okay, let me just test. Okay, sorry. The cast shadows are only behind the character because they get cast onto the background. So that means I can't use the cast shadows here. Okay, there's another fix though. There's another fix. Let me check what this is. Okay, that's the highlight. That's the white. So I need to label that properly. So here's the fix. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Control-C, Control-V, and I'm going to call this darker shadows. Okay, and then I'm just going to come down here to the alpha and turn the alpha up to, let's say, 85. Okay, so this is the exact same color, but it's just a little darker. So it is effectively going to replace the shadows that were already there. But it just gives me the ability to add another level of tone to this guy, which I think is kind of cool. Right? That looks good, right? So that I don't like. That seems a little gratuitous to me and not very anime-ish. So, and what I am going to do though here is I'm going to go like this and fill that because I really want that to be the darker shadow. So that looks pretty good. Alright, cool beans. A little bit of a shadow here, by the way, and I'm going to use the B key so I can, well, or maybe I'm not, so I can paint that a little more delicately. Cool. Now the question becomes, do you actually want to make that even stronger? And I would say no. I would say 85 was pretty darn nice looking. So there's that. On to the next. Okay, no, not on to the next. Now it's a background. Okay, so what's really going on here? Let's take a look. This is fun. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to hit the B key, create a drawing. Okay, so what are we going to have? Frankly, the door, or the... it wouldn't even be there. You wouldn't even see it. Okay, so this background painting needs to be very impressionistic because what he's got going on behind him is basically just shadow, man. Let's, just for fun, let's try rotating around some of these other drawings and see if there's anything else that kind of sort of works. Okay, seeing the floor like that is kind of interesting. But of course that's showing the outdoors behind him, so I think I'm going to go ahead and redo this. But what I'm going to do is go with oil paint, just a huge brush. And the first thing I'm going to do is make a slightly blue tinted background. And probably make it a little smaller just so it's a little more performant. What we're trying to do is just, I mean, honestly, I'm inclined to leave it like that, just so it just feels like sort of some texture, you know, back there. So I want to be careful not to like do too much. Now what I want to see though is when this renders, you're going to see a lot of transparency in it. So we're going to have to do something about that. So why don't we do this? Let's take this and now we're still really dark, but let's go like this just to sort of give an indication that we do have the floor down there. Okay. So now I'm going to just work back into this a little bit. The directionality of the texture doesn't matter on the floor. Okay, I like that because it's got energy to it. Pretty cool that clip has OpenToonz transfer system in file. Ah, yeah, I heard about that. Yep. Okay, so file, save all, and now we got to do a quick fix, which is to go here to the fast stone image viewer, and there's my painting right there. Okay, and what I'm going to do is drag that sucker into Krita, Alright, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and finish out the painting, just kind of doing what I've been doing, like so. And then I'll add a black layer behind so that it sort of fills in the so you can't see through it, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So let's fill that. Okay, why did it... Oh, I'm doing a gradient. Sorry, I hit the wrong key. Okay, it figures. Okay, well, we gotta hand paint it. Alright, no problem. Alright, so move that down, turn that on, and just save this. File, and it's a TIFF, so we're gonna save it. Boom. Now when we open this back up, we can see that now when it renders, it will render properly. But I'm still not done, because actually I want to still add a little bit of character, if you will. Okay, that was kind of a mistake. That needs to be there. Oil paint needs to be R key, B, and I want to go just a little darker so that, like I said, I can there we go. I'm just trying to convey a little bit of a sense of energy in this background. That's really all I'm after, is energy. So it's almost creating a bit of a silhouette around him. So I like that. That's cool. Alright, now we can commit, save all. And I believe we are on to the next drawing. So let's do a quick recap. That looks good, looks good. We want to crop that to the camera so we're not distracted with extemporaneous backgroundy stuff. There's that shot. Get that. Okay. Okay, cool. So this background needs to extend. One more frame. Now we got to go in and get this guy dialed in. So ink and paint, and he's got some skin, doesn't he? Fill tool, boom, boom. A ninja costume, ninja costume, ninja costume, and wraps. Boom, boom. Are we gonna see his wraps? I think we can make the claim that we can't see his wraps in that shot. So P key, so I can paint in his eyes. Okay, and now I want to go back to my basic brush and fine-tune this, make it look better. So the thing about these lines is, my objective is to have, because I noticed that, Jay, I think you mentioned using Clip Studio for ink lines. I mean, you can get really gorgeous manga quality ink lines in OpenToonz. I don't want to. My whole game here is that I want to capture the aesthetic of pencil art that's been scanned. That was kind of the whole point here. And I like being able to go back into these drawings. And I don't like that last stroke I did, but go back into them and even tighten the quote-unquote pencil drawing up even more. That feels pretty good. Okay. So now what is going to happen is that boy is going to have some shadows. So B key. Now we got to be careful. P key. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Cool. Yep, that's gonna work. That up. I'm just gonna make this big, doggone it. Okay. Yep, I like that. Little bit further, methinks. Okay, and then darker shadows. Got to go with a smaller brush, or I'm going to get myself in a pickle. Alright, and I believe we had a little bit of a two-tone operation going on here, so there, that looks pretty good. So, okay, on to the next, right? Save early, save often, that's the rule. Hour 25. Okay, actually, I should probably quit. What time is it? It's after 6 o'clock. I have actually live streamed while doing ink and paint for 2, 4, 5.5 hours today. So there's plenty to bore almost anyone. And I do think this is kind of a good place to stop. It's been an hour and a half here, so. Anyway, guys, thanks for hanging out. It's been fun. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, because I got a lot of work to do. And just scanning through this art, and boom. There's definitely still some things that I feel like I could do better. But all in all, not too bad. So anyway, with that, I will shut her down and see you guys later.